Hello everyone, in this video I'll be translating and summarizing the latest Urdu broadcast by Shahbaz Gill to make it accessible for our English-speaking audience. Let's go through the key developments and insights in Shahbaz Gill's words. The most important news today is the interview of Imran Khan's sons, Qasim Khan and Suleiman Khan, with Piers Morgan. This is a very important interview. One reason for its importance is Piers Morgan's name and his journalism. If you talk about the top 4 journalists in the world at this moment, there's no doubt that Piers Morgan's name is among them. His significance in the world of journalism is immense. In addition to that, he has personal relations with at least 80% of the world's important personalities. From President Trump and his family to Prince Charles, and in the past with Lady Diana and Imran Khan and Jemima Khan, he has had personal ties. Piers Morgan is not only a very effective voice in journalism, but also a key figure in terms of his personal relationships worldwide. I don't think there's another journalist out there, or maybe just one or two, who might have the same level of importance or effectiveness as Piers Morgan worldwide. These days he hosts a vlog or a show on YouTube. Previously, he has appeared on CNN and other major television networks, and you could read his articles in the world's most prominent newspapers. In today's interview with Piers Morgan, some very important questions were asked and very important answers were given, which are offering a glimpse into what could happen in Pakistan in the coming days. The most important point that both sons mentioned was that they are eager to visit Pakistan soon, and they have already applied for their visas at the Pakistani embassy. This was something that we and others had heard earlier. Alima Khan had also mentioned that she holds a niqab, which is the national identity card for overseas Pakistanis. Now, many people are discussing today why they would need a visa if they have niqab. The reason is that niqab might have expired or been lost, and in both cases they would need a visa. Currently, Qasim and Suleiman Khan do not have an active niqab, so they only have one option left, which is to apply for a visa. There is another option where they could request a reissuance of their niqab, which would require them to contact the government. If they choose to get their niqab reissued, NADRA, the National Database and Registration Authority, will be involved. You should know that General Asim is directly involved with NADRA. How, you may ask? Remember that Lieutenant General Munir was appointed as a serving officer in the Pakistan Army, and his appointment was later challenged by Shah Kamran in Lahore High Court, where it was ruled to be illegal. However, after some legal battles, he was reinstated. Now NADRA is in charge of issuing niqabs, and given Asim Munir's involvement, you can imagine the kind of news that may come from there. Now let's move forward. They have applied for a visa. Will the visa be issued or not? That's a separate discussion. It should ideally be issued because no one should be making favours here. They are Imran Khan's sons, holders of niqab, and even though it may have expired or been lost, it should not make a difference. They are citizens of Pakistan and the sons of a former Prime Minister. Therefore, they have the right to get a visa. However, the current regime can do one of 3 things. First, they can reject the visa application, providing any reason such as fears of them creating unrest or security issues in Pakistan, or they could claim that their lives are in danger due to the presence of terrorists. Secondly, they could just prolong the decision indefinitely, leaving the matter hanging at the embassy. In that case, Qasim and Suleiman will keep reminding the embassy. However, both sons have clearly stated in the interview that they intend to visit Pakistan regardless of any obstacles, and they want to meet their father. Alima Khan also tweeted that they had applied for a visa, and both Qasim and Suleiman confirmed it in the interview. The development regarding the visa will be followed closely, but for now I don't think it will be issued unless there's some kind of pressure. However, as I said, it should be issued fairly. If the visa is granted, they will come to Pakistan, and we will keep you updated with any developments. Now, let's move on to the interview with Piers Morgan. He asked a few significant questions. First, he asked whether they believed their father's life was in danger. Qasim Khan replied, "Absolutely. We believe our father's life is in danger, and we fear he might be killed in jail." Piers Morgan mentioned that Alima Khan had expressed the same concern in a previous interview. He showed clips from past interviews with Imran Khan, where he had stated that he feared his life might be at risk. Then the next question was about corruption charges. Qasim Khan said, "If our father had committed corruption, he could have easily joined the parties in the past, especially from the PMLN, who had offered him to join their party. If he had wanted to make money, he would have done so with them. Why would he start his own party and struggle for years if he wanted to be corrupt?" Another question was about President Trump. Qasim Khan responded, "We would request President Trump to play his part in supporting democracy, human rights, and the rule of law in Pakistan." He further explained that in the past, when both his father and Trump were in office, they had a strong bond of trust and respect, and therefore, they expected him to help in resolving the current crisis in Pakistan. Next, Piers Morgan asked if they had spoken to the British Prime Minister or the Foreign Secretary. Qasim Khan replied indirectly, "We've had some communication, but not directly." He also showed a clip of Imran Khan talking about how his son Suleiman had expressed concern for his safety from a young age, urging him to leave politics. However, Imran Khan stated that he was in politics for a larger cause and would risk his life for it. Then, the topic shifted to the medical situation of Imran Khan in jail. The Sons revealed that his weight was decreasing, which is honestly quite alarming for someone his age. They mentioned that they had not been allowed to speak to their father on the phone since March, and even though he had medical concerns, he was not being allowed to meet doctors. They also mentioned the poor hygiene in the prison and the fact that several prisoners had died of hepatitis. Finally, when asked what message they would send to General Asim Munir, Qasim Khan stated that he should respect democracy. He said, "You've done everything to undermine our father, rigged the elections in every possible way, and still the people of Pakistan voted for Imran Khan. You must respect the mandate given to him by the people." He also emphasized the importance of respecting human rights, the Constitution, and the rule of law. This was a very clear and direct message from Qasim Khan to General Asim Munir, asking him to respect democracy and the Constitution. As we move forward, we will closely follow how this situation unfolds. Stay tuned for updates. The only reason for this is something I was informed about by a very senior military official who shared this information with me, keeping his name confidential. He passed this information through another source, as obviously, if he were to speak directly to me, it could create issues. He is still serving and is in a very important position in the Pakistani army. He is a very senior officer. I can say that he provided me with this information, that it appears that the shift has occurred, and he even mentioned that the Interior Ministry's name has been written down. The reason for this is that they want to reduce the checks and balances on who is coming to meet them and who is not. It will not be completely removed, but they won't be as visible as they were when sitting among other ministries. When people attend conventions at the convention centre, people come and go. However, when no convention is being held, it becomes quiet. Nothing happens there, and it's completely still. The only sound you hear there is the cawing of crows, because the convention centre has a large hall in the middle, and around it are offices. When there are no events, no one is around and everything is quiet. The gates are closed and the atmosphere is still. They plan to use this stillness. Right in front is the French embassy. If you walk a bit ahead toward Rawal Lake, and not towards Constitutional Avenue, you'll find a road leading to Rawal Dam. There's a gate on this road, and right in front of it is the American Embassy's office. So one could walk directly to the office of Mohsin Naqvi from that embassy, which makes it very close. This area, amidst all the embassies, seems to be the one where Mohsin Naqvi may want to operate without being noticed, especially from the embassies. He seems to want no one to know who is visiting him. Therefore, Mohsin Naqvi has made a move and shifted his office. We will continue to monitor this situation and share any updates if they arise. But for now, this is the information, and Islamabad's reporters should keep an eye on this and evaluate what's going on. Let's move on to the next news. Field Marshal Asim Munir has made a statement that despite changing challenges, Pakistan-China relations remain strong. He emphasized the importance of the relationship between Pakistan and China, which, plays a vital role in ensuring the peace and prosperity of both countries. Asim Munir is essentially trying to balance things out. I've always said that when surfing in the ocean, you can't stay on top of the waves forever. Asim Munir is trying to do, unnatural things. Having violated the constitution, his tenure as army chief is about to end in the next couple of months. After that, he will need to go home. His term is coming to an end, and he had already retired before becoming army chief. Now, once his tenure finishes, he will return home. From within the same army, which is of course an important institution, there are officers equally capable, and new opportunities should arise for them to take over as army chief. If he does not go home, it is clear that his tenure will be cut short by others who could take the position. By November or December, he will have to leave. You should also notice how many people speak about this, whether in the media or politics, how many people repeat these things. Many get upset when his name is taken, and even when making direct comments related to him. If you do this, you will be under pressure from all sides, even from within the party. Propaganda starts against you because this kind of criticism is not appreciated. In any case, Field Marshal Asim Munir is trying, to maintain this balance. On one hand, he is engaging with Trump, and on the other hand has moved to take oil from the US. We previously reported how President Trump sold $1 billion worth of oil to Pakistan in the first stage. We don't yet know how many billions more will be bought. They went to give oil, and now they are taking oil. He had a deal with China, but then Saudi Arabia was included, and now the US has joined. Just think about what China must be thinking. Maintaining this balance is proving to be a very challenging task for Asim Munir. The situation is that when you stumble, you will eventually fall. Though it is true that sometimes you can extend that period by stumbling slowly. This is the situation Asim Munir is in. How long he can keep this balance, I don't know, but it is clear that this balance cannot last. It won't be possible to keep both parties satisfied for long. This is the reality, and China also knows what is actually happening. Let's move on to a very important piece of news. It's not a new piece of information. What happened in the 1960s and 1970s is happening again today. I am talking about the leadership of our highly respected and esteemed Jamaat-e-Islami, who have always played as a secondary team with the generals. Yes, sometimes when they didn't get their share of the cake, they tried to take more. But sometimes when they got a little share, they spoke in a way that made it seem like they wanted to do independent politics. I must also praise that, aside from political corruption, Jamaat-e-Islami is relatively better than the PPP and PMLN in terms of political maneuvering and political dealings. Jamaat-e-Islami is not involved in the kind of corruption that the other political parties are. In other words, they may not have had the chance to do so, and hence it hasn't happened. Their workers are generally honest, and they are committed to doing something good for the country. Their rank and file are decent people. Jamaat-e-Islami is also not a family-limited party. It has a structured system from which people come out, unlike the others. But unfortunately, despite these virtues, the leadership, whether it's Liaquat Baloch or the previous leaders, has continued to work in a way that appears as though they are playing as the secondary team. Just recently, they went to protest to reduce the gas prices, but after the protest, gas prices went up. They protested and left. Hypocrisy doesn't stop. Recently, they invited Field Marshal Asim Munir to lead the Muslim world's armies. The Emir of Jamaat-e-Islami Karachi, Munim Zafar Khan, stated that Field Marshal Asim Munir should lead the Muslim world's armed forces and that the nation should support him. However, despite this, Jamaat-e-Islami has no objections to the current system where they don't allow the flag of freedom to be raised in Pakistan. But they are willing to offer leadership of the Muslim armies to him. This, as I have said before, should not surprise you. Jamaat-e-Islami has always played the secondary role. This will continue as long as the world remains. As long as the world lasts, Jamaat-e-Islami's name will remain, and it will continue to be the secondary team. How can I predict the future? The reason is their organizational culture. The culture has shaped into this, and unfortunately, nothing else seems possible. Those who rise to the top of the party end up adapting because they don't have the mass popularity or the votes needed to remain independent. So they end up playing the secondary role, and that's how they survive. Now, as we come to the final piece of bad news, I must mention that the car that had gone missing in DHA belonging to Colonel Sahab has been found. The car was discovered after about 9 or 10 days in a very damaged state. From this, we can understand the magnitude of the damage and how much force the car had to endure while being carried away by water. However, the most tragic part is that Colonel Sahab's daughter's body has still not been found. We all have daughters and sisters, and we can understand the grief of their family. May Allah grant them the patience and allow them to bury their daughter's body soon so that they can find some peace. We pray for the forgiveness of Colonel Sahab and his daughter. They have been missing for so long, and if she hasn't been found alive, it can be assumed that she has passed away. May Allah forgive her and elevate her status. This is a very sorrowful event, and those responsible for this should be held accountable. We have seen how the media was even blocked from entering DHA, yet the people who planned the town were never questioned. The drain was left open and unprotected. The authorities who failed to plan or take proper action will never be held accountable. This is something we have all seen. That wraps up our translation of Shahbaz Gill's video. I hope this English version helped you understand his message better. Please like, share and subscribe to Awami Lens to help our community grow. Don't forget to leave a comment below and let me know what you thought of this effort.